Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I have procrastinated long enough on this much overdue tour of my craft room. So today I decided, why not? I am getting ready to work on my travel journal because that trip, I hope, is coming up next week. Unfortunately, they are having some winds and fires still in the Boundary Waters, so that is questionable. But we're going somewhere, and it involves wilderness camping and fishing, kayaking, and I don't know what. So we're just going to do this journal in hopes that it all goes well. So I am going to kind of show you a couple things. Since we did our video the other day talking about efficiencies, and I showed you my collage book and the answer book that I use when I'm doing my projects, I thought, why not just keep at it, and I'll show you some of my favorite things. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'll just start by saying that our family room that's in our lower level has kind of become an extension of my craft room. So this is just right before you enter into my happy place. And this is an antique bookcase from my grandmother, and it's full of the books that I either use for covers or for content, or that I share in my Etsy shop when I put kits together. And then I have the rest organized in my storage room. And then you'll have to excuse this hope chest. This was from my grandma, and it's full of my life from my growing up days, and I have it sitting there because I need to go through it. But this is where our projector is, and below that, those two baskets on the left and the right, I have 12 by 12 bags, and those are all by theme. So if I'm working on something, I kind of try to make it look pretty, so, you know, it doesn't affect the aesthetics of the room. And then down on the bottom, besides Zenny's toys, are two of my vintage typewriters that I actually use. So that's out in our area. Oh, and I guess that is where I do all of my messy stuff, like all of my candles and my oils and all that stuff. And in this cabinet, I will show you this. I got years ago at an auction, and it's kind of rickety, but it's cooler than cool, and it's full of all of those supplies for the beard balms and the bath oils and the body oils. And they're not pretty, so they're all tucked away in here. And I'll show you the most boring stuff first. And I think I told you guys that one of my favorite things to collect is vintage picnic baskets and lunch boxes. So everything, all of them that I've got in this room pretty much house something, and they're all labeled. And if they're not labeled, they're empty. And then this is where I keep, I've got a few belts there that I use for my journal binding. And now I'm going to show you the other not very fun part of the craft room. This initially, I'll back up quite a ways. This closet was initially for the kiddos when when I first built this. And it is now transitioned into, this is the space where I work on all of my kits. I have all of the ephemera kits that I've got, my digital kits, that's my latest one, and then items that need to go on Etsy or eBay to sell, including these lovelies I just bundled. And then over here are things I need to address in some way, shape, or form. And let me just tell you, I want to show you, it's not pretty by any means, but this one and those two, one's a Hershey's box, one is a Tombstone pizza box, and that large one is some kind of something, I don't know. But if you guys don't have the storage and you don't want to go out and buy things, when you're in your local stores, look for the cases that those items come in that would work for your space, and grab them up because they're going to go to the landfill. So you might as well. Art is compliments of my kiddos, some splatter art. Up here, I have all of my, let's see, those are fabric samples. Those are all empty, which that feels good. And then that's just extra tags and things that I don't actually ever use. And then down here, again, not pretty. Those were just totes that I've gotten from, really, I think they're all from auctions. But they hold all my vintage fabrics, and on the right is all of my packing materials, and then all of my extra stuff that's too big. So let me turn around here. All right, I'm going to go from the left to the right. These are all of my paints. These, actually, there's a cool story about it. I won't tell today, but this was an artist who had fallen ill and really wanted someone to enjoy all of her artist supplies, and had a huge sale, and she was just a delight to talk to. But I bought those pieces so that I could store out, well, actually, they came with tons of them in there, the paints, but they work great, and they spin, and they're fabulous. And then this I have carted around for a bajillion and 1 years. It is a Hoosier cabinet that I actually had Dave hang. I had him hang the top instead of putting it directly on there, so I could put my crickets and my mats and all of that other fun stuff. And then these were a gift from one of my friend's moms. She's just darling. And these were actually her, I think, grandfather's scissors. I think he was a leathersmith, if I'm not mistaken. And then those are also one of my favorites, the old tin sand buckets those all have my scissors in them. This is actually kind of below here is my wrapping station. I still have some things. You can see it's well weathered. But I've got all of those things, some cute pictures of my kiddos. These I just got from a yard sale from a crafter that was liquidating a bunch. And so I've got rickrack, and I've got embroidery floss and string, and then that one to the right is empty. I have to be honest, these very rarely get used, but they're cute scissors. And these I still sometimes use my original Cricut, so those are all of my boxes with those in there. And another lunch box. And these are another great thing to use. Grandma's old Pyrex refrigerator containers. I have lots and lots of those. And they have the lids on them, so they're fantastic. This thing. Okay, so this, when Dave and I designed this room, that printer was not in the family. And so it takes up a great deal of space, but it's worked out. There's Zenny's new bed that Demi got her, and behind that are just two plastic inexpensive bins that I have all my adhesives, my glues, magnets, little papers and things like that. Below here is all of my sleeves that I use. I put each project inside of a sleeve, and so that's what's inside of there. And then this drawer, let's see. I don't know how nice this. Oh my God. This is all my paper for that bad boy. And people always ask if this works well. Yes, it works fantastic. I'm just going to be totally honest. I have had this for almost, I think, Dave might correct me, it might be 4 years. I just started using it because it was kind of overwhelming, but I'm getting the hang of it, and I've been doing digital kits on Etsy, and so I print them all out so I can test them, and that thing is a dream. So if you wanted to know, to the right of that is just my projects. I talked about that in a video or two before. That's the only thing I'm working on, and I have transitioned it from upstairs from my office to down here, so it's handy. To the right of that are just old vintage florals, and then a lovely mixed media collage that my mama made me. It's got my birth date on it and all kinds of fun stuff. She's so talented. And then I have a couple printers drawers that were gifted to me. They were actually both from my mom as well. And I put little sometimes little trinkets, but you'll see on the other wall, I actually use them for things. Boring paper. That's it. These little, that first shelf is just like reference books, all of, to the right, like right there. Those are all journals that have paper in them that I can use to cover. I've got sheet music and a few other things. But on that second, let's see, is that the second shelf? Yeah. On the second shelf, those fabric totes are perfect because they're collapsible if you're not using them, and they're really, really inexpensive. So they are great for all of your crafting, and they kind of keep them hidden. However, I have to label everything or I won't find anything. And then that top shelf, I'm really short, so I have to have a step ladder, but those are things I should be working on because I've got graduations, and those are by year, each of the kids, by name and by child, that I need to do something with before May of 2022 when my son graduates. So, so I think that's about it for that section. Most of the things that I have on here have all been from either gifted to me or from yard sales and estate sales and things like that. I love to recycle, and so while everything doesn't match, I'm okay with that because I'm able to repurpose and save the environment a little bit. I'm going to turn in this way. We'll just start with the second shelf. So back here, I've got a vintage juice glass carrier, and that's got all of my brushes in it. Another cute little sand bucket. This is a McCoy piece, and I don't have a lot of like spritzes and dyes, but those are where I put those, keep them there. Landon's portrait of me. Here is another box, another one that I recovered. This came from doTERRA, and it was nice and heavy. I have another one in the storage area you saw earlier, and it pulls out like a drawer, so I'm gonna use it. But these are great. Like, I will bring it down into my workspace, and then I will just stick my scraps or whatever I want to use it for. And then that one is bigger. I think that's a tombstone box as well. And so it's already cut out for you, so you don't have to do any cutting. You just slap on some paper, maybe collage it. And each of those is a 12 by 12 bag, and that's got all my ephemera. I think I still need to label those. That is just a tote with all my pens. These were also from that same yard sale. Now, these are probably not the best because they snap together, if you can see right there. But they're great for storing my ribbon, which used to be on that Hoosier cabinet, and it drove me crazy looking at it. So I have got them all organized by color. And yes, they're abbreviated. I can't get away from my years as the airline and travel industry. So if you're in the industry, you will know exactly what those colors are, especially if you worked in baggage claim and lost luggage. You get it. Those are just some of the pages I'm working on, some of my finished journals, and then those are the two books that I use to collage and put all of my photos and things from magazines. That is my great grandma Mo, the one I talk about all the time. I've got some other little things in that basket, nothing exciting. This is the one that I use most of the time, and it's got just basic paper. It's got some of my most used dye paper, my favorite papers, and then at the top is all my Cricut supplies. And my stamps that I don't use very often, so. And then this is years of buttons. So I just keep those in there and grab them when I need some are all together. And then these two baskets are all of the stamps that I use a lot. So I can still sort of reach them. I still need my step stool, but I can get to them. I can't even do this without. Over here, I just have some embellishments. I barely ever use those, but those are antique baby bottles. And so I just stuck those little flowers in there. That, my friends, is full of envelopes and like cards and cardstock. It's probably looks very small. It's huge, and it's stuffed full. And then that very top one is extra photos that I always kept for the kiddos in case they needed them for projects. At the very, very top, another picnic tin that happens to be empty. Let's see, did I get everything there on all of those? Yes, I did. All right, so we're going to come down. That little piece in the back, it spins around, and I won't make you dizzy, but and it has 2 layers. I've had it in many places. It kind of takes up a lot of room. So right now it's got things not really important. I need to like transfer to things I use often. But I just kind of left it with what was on there. And then this little crock is full of a variety of cards. These are some my mom made. Just things like if I want to send Happy Mail or if I want to send a quick note, I've got them handy. Let's put that guy back up there. You've probably seen these before. I don't have tons and tons of inks, and I've had these since I started scrapbooking before the kids were even born. So I just keep them there, and then I've got re-inkers and stickles and fun stuff in that printer. I just like looking at that printer store because it makes me happy. And then this is really where I do all of my work. That's my project that I'm working on. I've got my glue books, all my essentials. Remember, I told you I was making it a little more difficult to get to things so that I could move around. But I've got all of my markers and pens and all of those. I need to relabel them because I transitioned this to like really handy stuff like scissors and tapes and rulers. So, but that is about it on that. And then on down here, I've just got office supplies. I've got glue guns, all of my paints. Let's see. That's all my paints and pastels. I'm afraid to open this one up. Oh, it's not too bad. Those are my glue guns. And look at this, you guys. This is a big one. And all it's got is a few pieces of cardboard and a bank bag. So, potential. This is office supplies, which I'm sure is not very pretty. Boring. This Lazy Susan has some of my tools in it. The label maker that I need to get out and get batteries in. And I don't know what. I've got a Xyron, and I need to get this out too. Let me just spin around. This I've had, well, you'll know when you see it. I've had it forever. It's a bookbinding. I don't even know what it's called. But it's got book pages that go with it. And I should use it for a journal, right? Crazy. And then I don't know what's down here. More Xyron stuff. Stuff I should probably get rid of, but I just can't. Let's see. This one in the bottom has tools, and somebody just posted on one of the groups that I follow. Oh, here it is. This little gem. And she said she found one at a yard sale, and I was like, I have one of those, and I have not used it, but this is just like, not junk journal specific, but wood burning tools and all kinds of stuff, which is in here. Those are some punches. Here's more punches. Those are the ones I use a little bit more. And tools. And then these are the things that I just use all the time. So that is that. Now under here, oh, I'll show you this before I think this one might be empty too. Yep. Empty cigar box. I love it when I have empty drawers. I can put stuff in. This is kind of, there's a Jack's Pizza, not Tombstone, but that's a Jack's that I haven't covered yet. But down here, I keep all of that on the bottom are projects that I needed out of sight and out of mind that I need to be doing. And then those are just bags mostly of things that I used when I scrapbook, but I do have things by theme, like every single thing that are in those 2 baskets in the family room, and the things in here are by theme, whether it's by an event, like I'm doing one for camping and fishing, or patriotic. Those are all down here. I don't love how this is right now, but I know where it's at, and I can decide a better system later. So if you guys got ideas, I'd be glad to hear it. And then down here this is kind of all of the things I use a lot of. So I think I mentioned these little bags. They have them often in different colors at Target, but they're collapsible. So I use one for scraps and one for garbage on top of my work surface when I'm working. And then that's the big one I dump everything in that's real garbage. And then we're all set. But these I have my scraps, so it's handy and I can stick. You can see it's overflowing. I need to clean that out. All of my jewels and blingy stuff. I've got tags and index cards. Those are like paper bags, cello. I think I don't know what else is in there. And oh, my patterns. Let's see. And then this is all my dyed paper. Well, no, it doesn't look like it's, well, yeah, it is, but it's just kind of a mess right now. And then these are all of my patterns, which I have a lot, but I just sort those by, I take them all apart and separate them all so I know where they're at. And then these I've also had for a bajillion years, so I couldn't even tell you where I got them, but I've got brads, letters, snaps, buttons. Those are some 2 jewelry pieces. Those 2 above it are empty at the moment. And then some random ribbon that I need to use up. And then I've got my travel bag and my sketchbooks and art stuff below that. And that, my friends, is my craft room. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour. I hope it helped maybe give you some ideas. I'll go slow one more time around on how you can use up all those things in your home that other people might just throw away, and find a good home for them and a good purpose. Because organizing your craft room does not have to be expensive. It really, truly doesn't. So with that, I hope you have a very colorful day and a great day, and tune back in because in just a few moments, I'm going to start my video on my travel journal. So take care, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.